Hey, this is Nick, aka The Weiler, here for the Deadly Operative Grunts show.
The Deadly Operative Grunt Show! Oh, yeah.
Alright, thank you for joining us today. On today's show, we're going to have Master Sergeant Porkins, a local Idaho Twitch streamer. We're going to interview him. On Dog Watching, we're going to be talking about a new movie, The Renegades, aka Bad Company the Movie. And in Dogs at Play, we're going to be talking about Dead Alliance, the same people that brought us Friday the 13th, the game, brings us a zombie shooter. But first, as always, it's time for the post-week news. Let's get pwned. Alright, on post-week news this week, we didn't really have a lot to choose from, but we're still going to try to give you a couple. Crackdown 3 is getting delayed. Again. You know, this really sucks for anybody who is an Xbox fan, and they don't have a lot of exclusives in the first place. You know, if you need the time to take and just get the game right, then go ahead and take it. And actually, we've got exclusive footage of fans waiting for Crackdown 3 to come out. Let's get that.
What is happening to me?
He chose poorly.
Rick and Morty will no longer be streaming their episodes for free. This really sucks because I have really been liking season 3 of Rick and Morty, and now I'm going to have to pirate it up. And Uncharted might have a director. Like we haven't heard that before. Sean Levy, which was one of the people who worked on Stranger Things, is going to be the director for Uncharted. That, along with Tom Holland, this might actually be a good movie. And it is rumored to be a kind of origin story. So we don't have to really worry about it getting any of the story beats wrong. Like, oh, this car chase happened this way, you know. So this actually could end up being something pretty cool. Alright, that's all we have for you in the post-week news. Like I said, a little bit shorter this week. Let's go right on to Dogs at Play for Dead Alliance. Alright, on Dogs at Play, we're going to be talking about Dead Alliance. Here with me today is
Doug, aka The Freshness.
Alright, and today we're going to be talking, like I said, Dead Alliance. Now, Dead Alliance is a multiplayer shooter with zombies. Maybe give a quick explanation what it is.
It's first-person shooter.
Yep.
Yeah. And you, depending on the different game modes, but I mean, you pretty much you can use zombies to fight the other team, and you can kill zombies, you can kill the other team.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like a reminiscent of Umbrella Corps. I think that's what it was called.
Yeah, I remember that one.
The Resident Evil Umbrella Corps, except for it is first person and not the third person view of it. And I mean that's pretty much the gist of it. It is a zombie game.
Right.
It's not like a survival zombie game.
Yeah.
It's just they put a bunch of zombies out in front and you can start massacring them and the other team.
Yeah, so far what they've shown about the game is actually kind of interesting because you have your different game modes, but between each game mode you can bring in like the main grenade, it can do damage to the other players, but if you throw it at a zombie, it'll turn it into a green zombie. It'll have like a little green cloud over it. And actually, what I found out, because we did end up playing it, what I found out is that if you just hit it near a zombie, it'll only take over like one of the zombies. But if you hit it just right and it's a group of them, you can do like 3 of them.
I thought that was a different type.
No, because I always got it wrong.
You have the one that's the exploder, which only works on one zombie.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have the one that if you do it at a group of zombies, it turns them over, and then they just start running and to fight for you. They don't actually explode once they get there. They just start clawing at the guy.
Yeah, and see, at least from what I could understand, or from what I gathered from it, is that if it was just the splash damage, it would only do 1. But if you hit a direct hit on one of those, that's when it would take over many of them. So I think it was just all about aiming. And then you also have other ones where it's like you have your distractors.
Yeah.
And what I would always do is if there was a point to take over, I'd throw 3 of them inside the control point, because basically I would hide behind the zombies.
Use them as a meat shield.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so then it would make it super easy to take over. Then there's another one, like it's basically the tack insert from like Call of Duty.
Yeah.
They call it something else, but it was okay, I guess. And then there's another one where it just calls in all the other zombies or whatever.
In the game, or the people are class based in a way, because you got like 3, or I guess no, it was 3 that I remember. You had the heavy,
at least for the beta,
the light, and the medium. I guess you would say was more of the spec ops guy.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, depending on what you chose, that would be your equipment. And like the heavy would have the heavy machine gun. He could take more hits, but he was slow. He couldn't run very well.
Right.
And he had the, if I remember right, he had the exploder one, whereas the medium had more of an assault rifle. He's, can run, can dash okay, but he also had the grenade that would, when he hit it into a big group or whatever, it would turn them all. And then I believe he even had the tack. Or no, that was the light.
Yeah, the light, he had the first one you got had the crossbow, tack insert, and I think just a regular
distractor or something.
Distractor, yeah. He wasn't very well equipped. He's supposed to be the guy in the back, just poof, poof.
Yeah.
So
I died more with him than I did with anything else.
Yeah, and I want to say like you get 100 with him, 125 with the medium, and like 150, or I can't remember, but I do remember there was a difference, at least in health, from one person to the other. So I mean, you do have to, you're sacrificing health, but you're gaining distance. So you could be on the other.
Speed.
Yeah, you could be on the other side of the map, basically. I did like the map setups.
Yeah.
There was some good verticality, like in the, I think it's called Artrition, which is pretty much just the MOBA game mode.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was the middle lane, basically, that was just a bunch of buildings. And so you could get into buildings, and they were set up nice enough where, like, I want to say there's 4 or 5 people on a team. Versus 4 or 5 on the other team.
Yeah, it was 5, I think. 5
yeah?
5.
Okay, so essentially you could have like 2 or 3 people on each
lane.
Yeah, you could have 2 people on each lane, and then you could have a 5th person, which maybe would be the light guy, the sniper. He could just stay in the middle, like, forest, and he could just like help go back and forth or whatever. That's, at least if we're gonna go super deep into like strategies, I think that's how they had it set up. What was your favorite game mode between all the... So there's King of the Hill, Artrition, and I think there was just like a death match.
And all I remember playing was Artrition and King of the Hill. And between the two, as far as enjoyability, what I have to say would be the Attrition one. Because King of the Hill just seemed a lot more chaotic.
Yeah.
It was a lot more Call of Duty-esque. It was just a run and gun. And in that particular game, it didn't seem like many people were using these zombies at all.
Right.
Where in Attrition, you want to, because that's what you use to help take over the other points.
Right. In typical MOBA fashion, it'll spawn like 3 of the like medium-sized zombies and just go down each lane.
Mhm.
So yeah, I did feel like there was a little bit more strategy behind it. So obviously we've gotten more general on the game, so we did have a chance to try out the beta. Give me your overall thoughts on the beta itself.
I really do love the concept.
Yes.
It was really fun. It's like you said, at least for that attrition mode, it was a mixture of MOBA and first-person shooter, and I love being able to control the zombies and put them out in front. Or a lot of times I would just use the distractor, gather as many as I can, and then throw that bomb.
True.
Which would get like 5, 6 of them, and then I would run right behind them and do the cleanup, the mop up.
Truly, yeah, pretty much. And while they're trying to focus on this giant wall of zombies coming towards them, you just be like, boom, headshot, and you can take your time. So I'd have to agree with that.
Yeah. As far as the game mechanics, I guess you would say, there was a lot that I believe that they still needed to work on. There's a lot of times that, when you kill a zombie or even kill someone else, their body's just standing up straight. Like they didn't there's a lot of graphical errors that they needed to work on. As far the shooting, I thought was off. As far as looking down the sights, it didn't seem like the hit detection was on. But I guess that's why they do have a beta, so they can get these things out, and hopefully they can fix it. I'm not quite sure what the price is supposed to be. Do you know?
I want to say it was either like $29.99 or $39.99. Don't quote me on it.
It's 30 or $40.
Yeah, it's
40 is a little much, I would say.
Yeah.
For that type of game, but it really has piqued my interest, and if they're able to fix those graphical errors and things like that, I believe it would be a great game to play with your friends over and over.
Yeah. Personally, me, I have to 100% agree. The number one thing I could say about this game, my overall, if I could sum it up in one word, delay.
Yeah, delay
the game. Delay it, get it right. Literally, I think, because a lot of the things were just little itty bitty things. So if they literally just delayed it a month, I think that they could fix it. The funny thing is, you bring up the aiming down the sights. I usually played as the heavy, so it always took a little bit longer for me to bring up the thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I didn't personally notice that, but also that could be like my ping versus your ping. And if they're going to have that type of problems on a first-person shooter, that's a huge no-no.
Yeah.
Because you need, especially if they want to try to compete with Battlefield and Call of Duty. Granted, yes, they're a smaller team, and they can try to use that as an excuse. But for me, if you're going to even remotely compete with something like Call of Duty, just because you have zombies doesn't make you better than them, or it doesn't make you as good of a game as them. So yes, they need to figure that stuff out, because, number one thing I notice is I would always go up to a zombie and melee it. And it would go, like, literally for a whole millisecond, it would just stand there completely still. And then
yeah.
Or it would stand there and, like, its head would just poof.
Yeah, exactly.
It
was just small little graphical errors, you could tell.
Right. It's like you just need a little more time. Just a little. I really feel like that type of stuff, it also could have been part of the fact that it is a beta and maybe a lot of people were on it, but at the same time, I do feel like even when we get into a match, sometimes there would be a bot in there. So I don't even know if
Do they have bots?
Yeah.
Okay, so they fill it up with bots?
They'll fill it up with bots if there's not enough people. So there were a couple of times where I'd look at the name above the enemy, and it would be something that it was super generic, but not. It kind of seemed like it
was a bot.
Yeah, it was like it was something that a creator made up. At least in my opinion, maybe there's probably tons of people out there with generic names, but usually it's like Titty Licker 69 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
for me, something like Johnson, it's like, it wasn't that obvious, but you know what I mean. It just
It was like Big Johnson or something.
Yeah. It just seemed like that might be a bot, and we're just playing up against, there's maybe like one or two guys with, 12, 12, 68 or something.
If that's true, I was getting killed by bots then a lot too.
I think they could really make this a cool game, and it definitely could be something I'd like to do, like a party mode on, and just like have us sitting in a circle together.
Yeah. Do a Dogs That Play on, it would be really nice.
Exactly. I'd really like to do it. I'm definitely going to try it out when it comes out, and but as far as like buying it, totally agree. $40 might be a little too much. First time it goes on sale, and we get that little like PlayStation boost, PlayStation Plus boost, and so we only get it for like $15. Like I think I could get it then. I could justify it then.
Yeah.
But anything more, if they also have the graphical problems, it's just like no.
Yeah, they would have to fix it for me to actually spend the full price. But I guess I wouldn't know if it's fixed until I bought it.
That's the crappy thing about like downloadables. I want to say they're going to have a physical copy, but with like for instance Friday the 13th, it's the same makers. With Friday the 13th, they're not coming out with a physical copy until October, but it's been out for like a month and a half now as a digital. So if they do the same thing with Dead Alliance, like I'm not going to be able to know unless I spend money on it. I don't feel comfortable spending money on it. So at this point, I'm going to go to my IGN, I'm going to go to my GameSpot, I'm going to see what they think about it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to,
live streams.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Exactly.
Live stream it.
I'm going to check it out because it's not doing it for me as far as the performance, but God, I would love for it to be an awesome game.
And the way I think of it is since it's not a well-known company,
right?
That maybe if the game does well enough, that some bigger publisher or a game developer would take that idea and then be able to expand upon it, and you'll be able to get a Battlefield-esque type out of it, where you just have hundreds and hundreds of zombies with 20 people on each side instead of the small little squad that we get right now.
True. I mean, that'd be cool. Funnily enough, this is a lot like you said, Umbrella Corps.
I believe
well,
that's
actually,
what it was
no.
called,
Hold on.
wasn't it?
Raccoon City was the third person that you were thinking of.
Oh, okay.
Umbrella Corps was also a third person, but it was more of a like esports 5v5 and stuff like that. I actually really liked Raccoon City because there was like different. There were different classes. You had like your medic, you had your berserker, and then it was like the raccoon, or not raccoon. It was the Umbrella Corps side of the story. So like you got
Raccoon City.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you saw the in between the scenes of like when Leon and Claire got into their wreck. You got to see that from the perspective of the Umbrella Corps guys. And then, like, I think one of the missions is you let free Nemesis to go after all the SARS members. You program him to do that.
Oh, wow.
And so I really liked it. And they had a multiplayer mode in it that was kind of the same thing, only
you didn't get to control them, right?
You didn't get to control the zombies.
Mass, yeah.
They were the things in the middle that you could use as a meat shield. I think there was actually a grapple, so you could grapple and be a.
Oh yeah.
So, but I personally really liked it. It came out around the same time as obviously a couple other games, and there was several people on that particular server that I would talk to. Like they weren't totally toxic. Surprise, surprise. But I talked to them. They're like, God, this game is really not that bad. Is it great? No, but it's something new. It's not
exactly
just another
it was a new
Call of
concept.
Duty.
Yeah.
So yeah, if they could take that same concept from Raccoon City, from Umbrella Corps, but really make it cool, it could do something. It could be more than just, here's this downloadable game that nobody's talking about.
Here's a map, a real small map. You guys go kill each other. 'Cause
Right.
That's what that's what most, at least for Call of Duty. that's what most of those first-person shooters are. Is they just throw you in a map and go to town and have fun slaughtering. And I personally find that boring. I like actually having some sort of objective or some sort of teamwork somewhere.
Yeah,
So.
and then putting that little hook that there's also zombies and you can use them, like so.
And then because they even had different zombies, they had the real skinny ones, and then they had the ones that had like the boils all over their face that could like explode if they get too close to you.
Right, and then they had these like more husky ones. I wouldn't call them tanks, but I'd call them like medium-sized zombies. And those would take like 2 swipes at you and you're dead.
Yeah.
Whereas the skinny zombies, the normal ones, they'd have to swarm you for you to really have anything happen to you. They were more of a nuisance. Like,
exactly, yeah, like trying to swat them off.
With those, I think 1 melee a piece would get rid of them. The medium-sized ones, those would be... you wouldn't want to melee them because they would kill you way too fast for melee. And then the boil ones, you want to do those at a distance.
And try to, if you can take those guys over, they'll go over and try to attack the opposite team, and then you shoot the boil ones.
Exactly.
And they would explode.
Yeah.
So, it just had a lot more strategy to it, which is nice and refreshing to see in first-person shooters.
Definitely. All right, so that's our view on Dead Alliance. Did you try out the beta? What did you think about it? What do you think about the concept? Is it enough to pull you in? Let us know in the comments below. Up next, we're going to do dog watching and talk about the Renegades movie.